Judge Ted Poe of Texas, Chairman of the Subcommittee on Terrorism, Nonproliferation, and Trade.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for being here. The United States has made a commitment to protect ethnic and religious minorities who have been subject to ISIS in Iraq. The unarmed residents of Camp Liberty have been attacked, as you know, 7 times, resulting in the murder of 100 residents, wounding 1,000 others. Myself and 26 other members of Congress have sent you a letter asking you specifically what now will be done to protect those members of Camp Liberty. I would like for you to respond to the letter in writing as opposed to this hearing today. So I on to specifically what we're talking about with ISIS. The way I understand the United States plan is arm the people in Syria that have been vetted and with the intent of, I suspect, defeating ISIS in Syria and also a strategy to defeat ISIS in Iraq at the same time. Concerned about that because we armed the rebels or the opposition in Libya, and now that hadn't turned out so well. Libya, to me, is a failed state. I have a series of questions. You have made it clear that this is not Islamic philosophy. Tell me and the American people exactly who we are at war with. What would you call, I call them ISIS, Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. What would you tell the American people, okay, we are doing this support, we're at war, we are a counterterrorism operation, whatever you want to call it. Who is the enemy? Define the enemy for me. What would you call them?
Well, Congressman, let me say very quickly, I share your concern, the administration shares your concern about the Mujahideen Khalq who've been too long in Camp Liberty, and we recognize that. We've been able to work to get 384 residents out of there.
Excuse me, Mr. Secretary, I'd like you to respond to that question in writing because of time limit.
Fine.
You just go ahead and answer the question, who are we at war with? I call them ISIS. Who would you call these?
Well, I call them the enemy of Islam because that's what I think they are, and they certainly don't represent a state, even though they try to claim to.
So we would call, so officially we should refer to them as the enemy of Islam?
Well, I do.
Okay.
I don't know if there's an official or whatever, but
well, how do we tell the American people?
I hope you join me in doing that because that's what I think they are, and I don't think they deserve to have a reference in their name that gives them legitimacy.
So are they the enemy of the United States?
Beg your pardon?
Are they the enemy of the United States?
They're an enemy of humanity.
So they're an enemy of the U.S. too?
Among others, among many others.
Well, I'm just looking specifically at the national security interest of the United States. I don't want to talk about
definitively, it is in the national security interest of our country, with Americans over there with passports, learning how to fight and taking part in this humanity.
And I agree with you. They shouldn't come back unless they're in handcuffs. I agree with that.
For all those reasons, yes.
What is the long-term strategy? Is it to defeat this group? ISIS, if you don't mind me calling them that.
Yes. Yes, it is.
So this is
my best entreaties to call them something. That's all right.
All right. Well, but that is the long-term goal in the United States.
Long-term goal is to end their capacity to engage in acts of terror and terrorize, to be a threat to the United States and others, and to destabilize the region.
Do you suspect that this, as long as it takes, is that really the position of the United States, that however long it takes, we're going to defeat this group?
Well, the answer is, if your goal is to defeat them, you better be prepared to do it however long it takes. But that doesn't mean it's going to have to take forever. And I think if we put together the right coalition, if we all join together and support the right strategy and do the right things and follow through, I'm confident that we can defeat ISIL.
By any means necessary, we're going to defeat them, or are we just going to defeat them with certain strategies?
Well, we have a strategy, and we think it can work, and we have other options within that strategy if the first steps don't. But
if the Syrian rebels aren't successful in defeating them on their own, we have contingency plans to follow up?
There are other options. We're not making those plans right now because we plan to defeat them the way we're going.
We're going to